Hi there and welcome to Imperator Room Development Diary 7. It's all about characters. The basic values of characters, their attributes, their traits, including things like lunatic, and their so-called stats, things like personal wealth, loyalty, prominence, things like that, and how they can relate to each other and how they can be used. So let's start to look at this in detail. So, Johan states, the characters in Imperator are deeply detailed and together with the pops and the politics are a part of what makes a vibrant living world. That's a big promise to live up to, but they shall be trying and we will believe them for now, as we are optimists. They have portraits that age gradually with lots of different ethnicities covering the world. 4 attributes are there that the characters have. There's the martial attribute, the charisma attribute, the zeal attribute, and the finesse attribute. Martial represents a character's ability to fight, to lead troops. Characters with high martial skills make excellent generals, as you would think. Charisma is a character's ability to charm and persuade others, and probably diplomatic repercussions. Zeal is a character's ability to inspire faith in other characters and also in calling upon the favor of gods, so the religious actions you have will be influenced by zeal. Finesse represents a character's skill in disciplines requiring a high attention to detail. High finesse characters make excellent researchers and governors. So they are going for the bureaucracy, if you want so. Then there's these hints. For those of you that played the original Rome or Crusader Kings will not be surprised to hear that our characters have traits. Traits on a character are a lot of fun in that character. At least for me. Traits on a character can be gained or lost. Through events, through actions probably, through anything. They can be categorized in the following categories, but they are not like exclusively that category probably. So there's the category personality, military, health and status. So personality includes being brave or a coward, cruel or merciful. These impacts the character attributes and stats directly, as well as other things like the military ones. Usually a character has a maximum of one of those that may give a bonus or penalty. If you go back to Crusader Kings, it would probably be a bonus to, for example, defending, or a bonus to attacking, or a bonus to a certain kind of troops that they may lead. Then we have health. Stressed, maimed, lunatic, etc. not beneficial to the character in most cases. Interesting that lunatic is not a personality trait, but a health trait here. So being a lunatic is not being someone special, but having a disease. While in history, it has often been that people regarded as lunatics have been someone special. So we'll see. I mean, it is categorized like that, but you never know. You never know. Maybe, I mean, in our mental compass, we can recategorize it if you want so. Do you think a lunatic belongs to personality or to health? Status. Some exceptional traits that can be given from actions, like conqueror. So status are things that can be like they are the medals on your breast, so to say. They are the achievements of these characters. Then the traits, these traits, so the unique traits of a character, not really the attributes. So the attributes influence probably the event options you get and how successful they are, but the traits unlock a variety of unique event options, each tailored to the specific trait in question. When reading Lunatic, you would probably think of Caligula and his horse chancellor, right? Or of Nero and burning down Rome. So We might be surprised there, knowing CK2. Yeah, as it says here, those of you familiar with CK2 will be displeased or pleased to see the return of the lunatic trait. A character also has his or her personal wealth and 4 other primary stats, I'd say. Popularity, loyalty, prominence, and corruption. Popularity is a measure of how the people see the character. In republics, high popularity characters are more likely to be elected leader of the republic. However, even monarchies cannot ignore popular people. Popular people are often safe from things like assassinations or relatively certain to get into power positions, as it has always been. And then there's loyalty. That's a measure of a character's loyalty to the state. Disloyal characters are more likely to cause problems to a ruler than loyal ones. However, even the most loyal of characters have their limit. So this loyalty is a stat, not a trait or an attribute. So the loyalty can probably be bought, can be influenced a lot. And it's a dynamic value that will... So you'll be able to convert rebels into non-rebels by influencing their loyalty, probably. We'll see how easy that is. Or you can... Maybe if you're up for some mischief, you can create disloyalty. And it also does not mean that they are disloyal to other characters in general. They're only disloyal to the state and to probably high representatives of the state. Then there's prominence. That represents the fame of the character. Jobs and titles help bring characters to public attention. I'm surprised that this is a difference to popularity. So, prominence is something like a popularity through achievements, the fame of the character. It would be something like the status of the traits. Like a conqueror would probably gain prominence, and through his prominence he could gain popularity. Then we have corruption. That's a measurement of this character's willingness to engage in underhand practices. And interestingly, this is also a stat and can probably be influenced too. Because it's not an attribute. So it's not a measure of a character, it's a measure of the circumstances a character is in. And that's a very modern view of a human. So you're not influenced by some kind of intrinsic value, but it's the circumstance you're in. So you can also influence the corruption of a character then. And that should be interesting. Greed, bribery, and the bending of rules come hand in hand with high corruption. So there could be corruption that is favorable for the state, and there could be corruption that is disfavorable for the state. We'll see what actions we have at our disposal then. The characters have parents. They will be able to marry and get children, just as you would expect. They can also have friends and rivals. So there's that little Crusader Kings 2 touch. It's a little bit more roleplay than in, for example, EU4 and in Stellaris, which is something that makes me rejoice, because I like the roleplay options in Crusader Kings 2. The characters can be given various roles. Besides being ruler of a country, they could be assigned to govern a province, command an army, handle research, or be given a role in the government. Some countries allow women to be given offices and some do not. And there are lots of different interactions you can do with and on your characters, including arranging marriages. There we go, Crusader Kings all again. Bribe them, loan from them, or even sacrifice them if your religions so permit and desire. There will be a deep development diary on those later in development, and that will be very interesting. I think this is the best of the dev diaries we've had, and if you look at the agreement it produced, it's definitely so that the majority thinks, hey, now we're coming to the flesh of the game. And this means a lot of people also expect characters to be the fundamental force of the game, the fundamental force driving the game. Great characters that give history, great stories, and great directions. Let's have a look at the screenshot too. Let's make it a little bigger to that. Here we can see in the province of East Sicily, Baal, what a nice name, Hanid rules there. Baal, the being that ancient god that was a competitor to Jahwe. He's 35 years old. He has a martial attribute of 9, a charisma of 7, a finesse of only 3. So he's probably not that good of a governor. And he has a zeal of 5. He has a little bit of wealth. Just a little bit. 0.16 gold ducats, I don't know. Traits. He has traits. He's generous, forgiving, and arbitrary. He has a loyalty to the state of around 75%, a popularity of around 50%, a prominence, so he hasn't achieved much, of only 10%, but he's a governor now. So that's probably where his prominence comes from. And he has no corruption. Baal Hanid has a culture. He's a Carthaginian. So he's from Carthago, interestingly. And he's in the province of East Sicily. Carthago, was it destroyed now? 450, I think. I think so. I'm not really sure, though. The religion is Canaanite. He's also in the religious faction, so it would be quite interesting to know what he believes in. And Canaanite is probably the old Canaanite religion, which is like a pantheon of classic gods, from death gods to life gods to fertility gods and things like that. So, Naxos. He's in Naxos right now. And Naxos, while it sounds Greek, it is here, right? It's a part of Carthage, so he's a Carthaginian, not a Roman. Naxos is one of the first, or was one of the first, Greek colonies in Sicily. That explains that unusual name. I think there's also Naxos in Greece, but I'm not sure. But Naxos here is a colony of old Greece. Then we have the local revolt risk. He increases by 1, probably by one of his traits, probably arbitrary, something that would increase revolt risk. Generous and forgiving would probably not. So we have definitely an interesting setup here, a lot of values. I believe this will be further refined, but it gives a great start to see. And it is also, in a way, a combination of being old-fashioned. I mean, look at these values and how they are presented. The precision of that is very old-fashioned. Normally today you have values like from 1 to 5 stars. Yeah, even that is old-fashioned. You would have a thumbs up or a thumbs down. No, we are in an old-fashioned game a bit. I personally like that because the imprecision of today's ratings gets on my nerves. I think you should have at least the possibility to have precisions like loyalty. 74.8% is totally fine with me. Values of 100% are totally fine with me. I like that, and I like the values. These values are probably values from seeing 9 is green, 3 is red, and 5 is blue. This is probably a system from 1 to 10 or something like that. And that's also quite good. So I'm looking forward to the characters in Imperator Rome. Do you as well? And we'll see each other in the next dev diary of Imperator Rome. And we'll see what that covers. I mean, there's always something surprising, some factor of surprise that we have with these dev diaries. Johan also writes them very early, usually, which is mesmerizing. For the majority of people involved, he's just an early bird, and it seems like he has a certain kind of calmness that you can see in the texts, and a certain kind of definitiveness that this will be good. He doesn't seem to be influenced negatively by the comments. There's a lot of comments, a lot of them also criticizing, and this gives me hope that they can avoid rough edges from the start and make it a great game from the start. I mean, it is a little bit old-fashioned, but it's about a very old period of history, a very fascinating one, and where you can bring precision to that, into that game world, that would be a very great boon, given the only vague values and texts and definitely probably documentations we have of especially the earlier periods. I'd imagine the later periods in the Roman Empire, due to their bureaucracy, have very good coverage, but the earlier ones, good luck, good luck. So, thank you for watching and happy gaming to you. This is Immanuel signing out.